Good evening, friends, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to welcome you once again, those who have come late, on behalf of the NRT-SL for making this effort to be here today, this evening. I know how precious Sunday evening is, and I appreciate that extra effort that you made to be here today. We will try our best not to disappoint you. I must also thank my colleagues and founder members of the NRTSL for giving me this opportunity to outline the objectives and the vision of the NRTSL. I will try to do this as best as I can and within the time I was given. I am aware that all of you have a fairly wide-ranging experience and understanding of the Tamil expatriate, social and political scene in the UK. The objective of this meeting today is to share with you the origins of the idea of the NRTSL and also to listen to your opinions and contributions to further develop this concept. Those who are here today are all invited by founder members of the NRTSL. In our opinion, you are all active in the community, in different spheres, and also have a desire to move the community forward. I must also say that the NRTSL is still in its formative stage, and the direction and the effectiveness of it will be influenced and shaped by contributions and suggestions given by you all. In other words, this is an opportunity for us to tell you what we are thinking and what we are trying to do, and for you to give us a feedback of how to shape this and get this idea to move forward. Like SriLanka said in his Tamil speech, if we do the same thing again and again, we will end up in the same destination. That's what he said. That is true. If we try to think the same way and do the same thing, we will get where we got to. We have to change the direction. That is the essence of the aspiration of us to chart out a new way to get out of this stagnation. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with defining the context in which we thought of working together as non-resident Tamils of Sri Lanka. You will all agree that the Tamil diaspora in the UK is a robust, dynamic, upwardly mobile community. And it is estimated that there are more than 300,000 Tamils living in the UK. They make significant contribution to the UK economy and social life. They are respected for their hard work and professionalism. They are well integrated within their local communities. I am sure this will continue for generations to come. As much as we are proud of our British identity, we are equally proud of our identity as Tamils, British Sri Lankan Tamils. We in Britain are living in a multicultural society. We know each and every community maintains their socio, political and economic links with their country of origin. The host countries also recognize and encourage these links. These links are also seen as one of the important parts of building bilateral relationship between countries. The fact that Right Honourable British Prime Minister David Cameron summoned members of the Tamil community to number 10 to hear their point of view before he visited Sri Lanka is a manifestation of this tendency, that understanding of the establishment. The main opposition Labour Party's public pronouncements expressing concerns about Sri Lanka is also another indicator of this trend. Government and opposition and all the political establishment trying to connect to the diaspora communities is the present trend. That is the way things move. What I'm trying to say here is that the present day diaspora activism in reality has new dimensions. The host countries' attitude and enthusiasm to engage with the communities is seen as an integral part of international relations. These changing perceptions are not confined to Tamils or Sri Lankan diaspora. This is a general trend. It is true for any diaspora community in the UK. The globalization, along with the larger movement of population from country to country, continent to continent, all contribute to the growth of and the enrichment of the diaspora communities in the West. This trend is most likely to continue in the coming decades. It is important for the community and social leaders like you and like us all to understand the new context in which we are operating. It is important for us to find ways to manage these new realities in order to benefit our communities. This is our wider context in which we are thinking of working, the new realities. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me move on to the origin of how the idea of non-resident Tamils of Sri Lanka is born. The word Tamil diaspora is somewhat, to some extent, stigmatized by the attitudes of Tamil and Sinhala extremism. I'm only talking about the perceptions. I'm not getting into a discussion about whether it is true or analytical thing about to what extent it is true. This is the general perception. Tamil diaspora is stigmatized. At present, Tamil diaspora can sometimes be projected as a hostile entity to Sri Lankan national interests in the mainstream Sri Lankan media, as well as some influential political leaders. We think that the Sri Lankan government versus the Tamil diaspora approach is fundamentally flawed. And this perception, in our view, is one of the main causes that prevent positive engagement between communities. There is a need to recalibrate the relationship between communities in order to break out of this stagnant mindset. The phrase non-resident Tamils of Sri Lanka is an attempt to articulate that sentiment, that identity of us as Tamils, British Tamils, British Sri Lankan Tamils, and break out of this present perceived notions of Tamil diaspora which has. And we are also inspired by the role played by the non-resident Indians. Those organizations and what they have achieved, and the institutional mechanisms and arrangements created by the Indian state to harness the resources of the expatriate community for the development of the country. So that is another inspiration, that's why we want to operate as non-resident Tamils of Sri Lanka in Britain. In short, this is the beginning of the idea of the non-resident. In short, if I summarize that, the word diaspora, we would like to move away from that, number one. Number two, we want to articulate the identity and the sentiment as it is. Our motto is engagement for progress. We, as an organization, intend to engage with all the stakeholders to explore the ways in which we could work together to achieve our objectives and make progress for our community. When we say all the stakeholders, we mean different organizations that are working in Britain or UK, all political parties in the UK and also in Sri Lanka. We also intend to further strengthen our work with the international community and institutions. The work so far what we have been doing, Jeya will talk about that. That work we are engaged in Sri Lanka and also with the institutions that are engaged in Sri Lanka to bring peace, stability and reconciliation. So we are prepared to work. We are planning to work with all the organizations that are working within Sri Lankan community, political parties and non-governmental organizations and governmental institutions which have a role to play in the process of reconciliation, development and stability, to bring stability to Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, let me finally explain our objectives and targets. I have a limited time I was given that we would like to achieve. These are specific, measurable and achievable targets, we said. We do not think that these are easily achievable. We do not underestimate the enormity of the targets we set for ourselves. The only way our goals can be realized is that many people understand and join hands with us to strengthen the work we set out to do. The objectives of NRT-SL are, the first and foremost, we're lobbying with the Sri Lankan government to establish a Ministry of Overseas Sri Lankans, or at least a Department for Overseas Sri Lankans. Because it's quite an important subject to be sidelined or to be handled by individuals at their whims and fancies. Secondly, we would like to continue the campaign for transparent and efficient institutional arrangements for granting dual citizenship for anyone who desires, who wants to get it. Thirdly, we want to campaign for recognition of the special status of second, third, fourth generation children of Sri Lankan origin, the same status that was given to overseas Indians in India. Because these are we see it as a resource, and this is something connecting to the homeland, and those who have an identity with Sri Lanka must be able to link, and the Sri Lankan state should be develop itself capable enough to accommodate that. That is the point where we are going to. And also we will, along with that, we will campaign for clear policies and encouragement to invite non-resident investors and professionals to participate in the task of nation building. And we would like to establish campaign for lobby for attractive and efficient banking procedure and facilities to increase foreign currency flow through state banking institutions. Legal right to purchase land, houses, retirement homes, holiday homes, and also to inherit properties. It is needless to say these objectives can only be realized by the collective will and effort of all of us. This also requires commitment and hard work over a long period of time. We know that. It is not an easy task that we set out to do. In our view, this is a gathering here of well-meaning people and resourceful people who can make a change really. Today we call upon you all to give your frank opinion about our approach and become part of NRTSL to work towards achieving these goals. Thank you.